Dear students, welcome you all. In the last class, we have discussed in detail about what are these sampling errors, and also we have seen how to estimate mean and variance for the unknown population parameters by using point estimation and then interval estimation. So this is what we have discussed in the last class in detail. Okay, so today's class we'll be discussing about this significant test. So that too, the main focus is given to this Z test in this presentation. Okay, now if you look at the objectives of the today's class, is to provide you the knowledge on significant test and its importance in textile applications. Okay, and the outcome you are going to get at the end of this class, at the end of this presentation, is you will be able to understand and perform the Z test, to assess the evidence provided by data about some claim concerning a population. That means from the population or for the population, some claim has been given. So that we are going to prove it by using this Z test. Okay, so this is what the outcome you are going to get at the end of this presentation. Okay, now we will discuss about start discussing about this significant test. So before that, I like to give you some knowledge, or I like to give you some information on the statistical inference. That is, we are talking about, or we are finding out the inference for the unknown population parameters by means of this statistical analysis. Okay, there are two ways we can give this inference. One is by doing this testing of hypothesis, which is nothing but by doing significant test, and by doing estimation, which we have already discussed in the last class. These two are the two important parts of statistical inferences. If you are going to draw some inference about a population parameter, draw an inference about a population parameter, that is, what is the state of population parameters, where there are two important parts. One is testing of hypothesis, which is nothing but significant test, and then estimation of unknown population parameters. Okay, this estimation of unknown population parameters already we have discussed in our previous presentations, our previous class. Okay, so today the main focus is given to this testing of hypothesis. Okay, by testing the hypothesis of the population parameter, how we are going to draw the statistical inference about the particular population. This is what our main concern for the today's presentation. Okay, so these statistical inferences, by using these statistical inferences, where the researchers use this confidence interval when their goal is to estimate population parameter, when it comes to estimation, so which we have already discussed in the last class. So that means confidence interval in the sense, with some confidence we are saying that the unknown population parameters which lies between two limits, one is lower limit and one is upper limit. Understand? So likewise these researchers are going to use these confidence intervals. Okay, that is in interval with some confidence. And the second common type of inference, which we already discussed, which is testing of hypothesis or the test of significance, has a different goal. Estimation is having a different goal, and thereby we are drawing the inference. And the same way, test of significance or test of hypothesis is having a different goal. In estimation, what is our goal? Our goal is to estimate the unknown population parameters from the sample selected from the population. So through that we are estimating the unknown population parameter theta. When it comes to this test of significance or test of hypothesis, where the goal is completely different. Here the goal is we are assessing the evidence. We are assessing the evidence provided by the data about some claim concerning a population. That means from the population or for that particular population, some claim has been taken, some claim has been drawn. Okay, so whether the claim is, what is the state of the claim? Whether the claim is acceptable or whether the claim is rejected. Okay, so that is what the goal of this test of significance. Again I am repeating, the goal of testing of hypothesis and estimation, both are different. The main aim of estimation is where we are measuring the unknown population parameters, from the sample selected from that particular population. That is the goal of estimation. When it comes to test of significance, where the goal is different. So the main goal is to assess the evidence provided by the data about some claim concerning the population, concerning a population. Okay, this is the main goal of this, that is test of significance. Okay, so when we are solving few problems under this significant test, you will come to know what is this goal is very clearly. Okay, now let us start discussing about this testing of hypothesis or significant test. Okay, so before going to this testing of hypothesis, you should understand the meaning of hypothesis. What do you mean by hypothesis? Hypothesis is just nothing but an assumption. That means we are assuming something about the population parameters, and from that where we are coming to, or we are drawing an inference whether the assumption is right or the assumption is wrong. This is what we are going to test it by using different tests. Understand? So the testing of hypothesis is one of the two important ways of studying unknown population parameters. So what is the other one, which is nothing but estimation, which we have already discussed in the last slide. Okay, so in testing of hypothesis, generally some assumption is made regarding unknown population parameter. Okay, regarding the unknown population parameter, we are making an assumption. This assumption, which is nothing but hypothesis. Okay, so this is what the hypothesis means. Okay, so when it comes to the testing of hypothesis, generally we are assuming two ways. That is, the hypotheses are of two types. One is null hypothesis and second one is alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Okay, so when it comes to the null hypothesis, where the assumption we are making in such a way where no difference is there, everything is same or everything is equal. Okay, so that is how we are assuming the null hypothesis. Okay, when it comes to alternative hypothesis, the name itself we can understand any alternative to null hypothesis. Any alternative to null hypothesis is called alternative hypothesis. Any alternative to null hypothesis is called as alternative hypothesis. Okay, so again I am repeating, when it comes to null hypothesis, always the assumption is in such a way that where both are same or everything is similar. Okay, so there is no difference, everything is same, everything is equal. So this is how we are assuming the null hypothesis. When it comes to alternative hypothesis, where the name, you can easily understand from the name, where it is an alternative to the null hypothesis. That means there is a difference. The difference may be greater than, or the difference may be less than. So in that sense, we are assuming the alternative hypothesis. Okay, so before solving any problems, we have to give this null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis about the particular problem, and finally we are going to accept or reject this null hypothesis. If null hypothesis is accepted, that means there is no difference between the values we are obtaining from the population. There is no difference, that means everything is same. Suppose if you are rejecting the null hypothesis, that means you are accepting your alternative hypothesis. That means where there is a difference, the difference may be greater than, or the difference may be less than. So this is how we need to set our hypothesis, null hypothesis and then alternative hypothesis. Okay, so in the process of assumption, we are using some kind of notations. Even in the last class also I told you, where for population, where the parameters we are assuming like mean and standard deviations. In the same way for sample also, sample mean and sample standard deviation, where separate notations are there. Understand? So here also, where the notation for null hypothesis is H0. In the same way for alternative hypothesis, we are assuming it, that is we are giving the notation as H1. So H0 is for null hypothesis and H1 is for alternative hypothesis. Okay, so we have to set the hypothesis before start doing this significant testing. Okay, now if you look at this testing of hypothesis, as I told you already just now, the decision regarding acceptance or rejection of null hypothesis is made on the basis of some function or the value calculated from the sample selected from the population. So from the population we are selecting the sample, and from the sample we are calculating our statistic, and depending upon the statistic where we are accepting or rejecting our null hypothesis. So if you are accepting your null hypothesis, in the sense there is no difference from the samples and the population parameters. Suppose if your null hypothesis is rejected, that means there is a difference between your sample selected and then population parameter. Understand? So this is how where the decision will be there depending upon the acceptance and rejection of your null hypothesis. Okay. So the decision regarding the acceptance or rejection where we are doing this decision we are doing about the acceptance or rejection of null hypothesis is made with the help of certain region under the probability density curve. I will show you in the next slide what is this probability density curve. Okay, I will show you in the next slide what is this probability density curve. So there is a region in this probability density curve about the statistic, that is sampling distribution of statistic. So depending upon the region, suppose if the null hypothesis falls under this region where we are rejecting it. Okay, that is how we are making the decision from the region under the probability density curve. Okay, this region is called as critical region. This is very important to understand. Critical region is a region which is there in the normal, that is probability density curve of a normal distribution of statistic. Okay, now if you look at this, if the value of statistic calculated from the sample, So population is there. From the population we have selected the what we are selecting? We are selecting the sample. That sample we are measuring. That value is called as the statistic. Falls in this region. If the value of statistic falls in this critical region, so then the null hypothesis is rejected. Null hypothesis is, we are rejecting it. That means you are accepting your alternative hypothesis. Understand? You are accepting your alternative hypothesis. That means there is a difference. Okay. So generally there are two different types of critical regions. So one is two-tailed critical region and one-tailed critical region. Again, in one-tailed critical regions we have left tail and then right tail. Okay, left and right. So now I'll show you. So what is this probability density curve and where is this region and how we are representing this region is. Now if you see this, this is a two-tailed critical region. This is a two-tailed critical region. Now you can see this is this is the normal probability density curve, and you can see if you divide this into two halves, okay, the center is nothing but always this is mean. Now you can see here these shaded regions, okay, alpha by 2 and alpha by 2. These are the two regions which we call it as critical regions. It is, since it is two-tailed critical region, both left hand side and right hand side we have the critical regions. Suppose whatever the value of H0, if it comes under these critical regions where we are rejecting our H0, that is a null hypothesis. Suppose if the null hypothesis comes under this region, that is acceptance region, which we are representing with 1 minus alpha. Here this alpha is related to level of significance. Even this thing we have discussed in our earlier presentation also. That is estimation of mean and variance also. We have seen what is this alpha. This alpha is related to level of significance. For example, level of significance is 5%. That means the alpha value is 0.05. So this is useful in finding out the table values of the particular test. Okay, whether it is Z or T test. Okay. So this is about the two-tailed critical region. Okay. Now when it comes to right-tailed critical region. Right-tailed critical region. So now you can see here where in the right hand side, you can see the critical region. So that means if the H0 value falls under this right hand side critical region, then only the H0 is rejected. So you can see this is all the acceptance region. This is all the acceptance region. Okay. So when it comes to this left tail region, now you can see here where is the acceptance region, that is critical region. This is the critical region. This is the critical region. So remaining all the acceptance region, which is nothing but 1 minus alpha. This alpha stands for, or it is related to level of significance. Depending upon the level of significance where this alpha value varies. Okay. So this is about the critical region. So there are two different types of critical regions are there. One is two-tailed regions, critical region, and second one is one-tailed critical region. One-tailed critical region is again divided into right hand side and then left hand side. So what is that importance of this critical region? Whatever the values, whatever the sample values we are measuring, which we call it as statistic, that statistic, if it falls under this critical region, falls in the critical region where we are rejecting our null hypothesis. So to draw that inference where we are identifying the critical regions of the statistic from the normal distribution curves. Okay, so this is about this. Now, as I told you already, the size of critical region, what could be the size? So it is always measured in terms of probability and it is a value, or its value is always alpha. Its value is always alpha. Okay. Now, if you look at the size of acceptance region, even in the distribution curves also, we have seen the size of acceptance region is 1 minus alpha. Even you can see in this second image. This is the curve. So where this side and this side is the critical regions, where in case of two-tailed, the center one is nothing but our size of acceptance region. We are representing with 1 minus alpha. So I told you already, alpha is nothing but, or it is related to level of significance. Alpha is related to level of significance. Say for example, if the level of significance, again this is the same thing, is always we are representing with the percentage. Level of significance is always we are representing with the percentage, and decided in advance before testing of hypothesis. That means before testing of hypothesis, we should decide what is the level of significance. That is, say for example, if you are saying the level of significance is 5%, that means level of significance is 5%, that means the confidence of the confidence interval is 95%. Confidence interval is 95%. Understand? So, okay, so this is about the level of significance. Okay, this we need to decide. So before starting the hypothesis testing. Okay, now if you look at, say for example, are depending upon the parameters to be studied. So what type of parameters we are studying? Say for example, and the size of sample selected for the study. Size of sample selected for the study. There are number of different test procedures. Okay, so the test procedures are there. There are different test procedures are there, depending upon what type of parameters we are studying, and then the size of sample selected for the study. Okay, so in the last class we have discussed about the criteria of the sample size. Suppose if the sample size we are selecting from the population is more than 30, then we call it as a large sample. Say for example, if the size of sample selected from the population is less than or equal to 30, then we call it as a small sample. So depending upon the size of sample selected for the study, so there are number of different test procedures. So one is large sample test and second one is small sample test. So identifying the sample size is very, very important. So which we have to do it. So beginning of the testing of hypothesis itself. So and depending upon the sample size which is there in the problem, where we have to choose the right study for right test of hypothesis, right procedure of testing our hypothesis. Suppose if the sample size is greater than 30, we should go for large sample test. In that too, where we have to choose Z test. Suppose if your sample size is less than 30 or less than or equal to 30, and you are talking about or you are finding out the mean population mean related things, where we have to choose a small sample test, that to t test. Okay, so this is all about the introduction part to testing of hypothesis. Hope you understand. So what is this testing of hypothesis, and what exactly this hypothesis means, and why we are testing this hypothesis. By doing the testing of hypothesis only, where we are drawing the inference about the statistic. That is information about the unknown population parameters. population parameters. Okay, so in testing of hypothesis, where there are two different types of hypothesis set. One is null hypothesis and second one is alternative hypothesis. Okay, in null hypothesis we are representing with H naught, and how we are setting this null hypothesis, there is no difference. Everything is same, both are same. So everything is good. This is our assumption in setting the null hypothesis. And what is the alternative hypothesis? Where there is a difference. So since the name itself, it is an alternate. So alternate to null is nothing but alternative hypothesis. We are representing with H1. We are representing with H1. That means, so there is a difference. The difference may be less than or that may be greater than. So that we have to identify from the problem which is given, which we are testing for the hypothesis. Okay, so after setting this hypothesis where we have to test it, and based on the test we have to decide whether you are accepting your H naught, that is null hypothesis, or you are rejecting your null hypothesis based on the critical regions which I have explained you from the normal probability density curve. The critical region is the region where the if the value of the statistic comes under this critical region, where we are rejecting our H naught. We are rejecting our H naught. So if you are rejecting your H naught, in the sense you are accepting the alternative hypothesis. Okay, so this is how we are testing the hypothesis. Okay, so in the process of testing the hypothesis, after setting null and alternative hypothesis, where we have to test it. In the process of testing, depending upon the parameters, what type of parameters we are testing, and then what is the sample size. Based on these two criteria, where there are different types of test. Okay, suppose if the sample size is greater than 30, so where we have to follow this Z test, which we are going to discuss now. If the sample size is less than or equal to 30, where the hypothesis testing should follow the small sample test. This you have to understand carefully. If your sample size is greater than 30, and if you want to test your hypothesis, that is alternative and null, and the decision everything, where you have to choose this large sample test, that is Z test. If your sample size is less than or equal to 30, less than or equal to 30, where you should use this small sample test, where that is T test, which we are going to discuss after this presentation. Understand? So that is how, by using this Z test and T test, and we have different other different types of tests are also there. Like we have this ANOVA, we have chi-square test. Likewise, we have different types of tests are there. So depending on what kind of parameters we need to test and what is our sample size. Okay, so this is what we have discussed till now. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about this large sample test, that is nothing but Z test. Okay, large sample test, which is nothing but, or we can also call it as Z test. Z test. So here, even in Z test also there are different criteria. So first criteria we are looking at is large sample test for the population mean. For the population mean. So suppose here I told you already there are different criteria. The first criteria is related to where there is only one population is there, single population is there, and we are testing the population mean. And the second criteria is there are two populations with two different population means. That is the second criteria. So in each and every criteria we are going to discuss about, so what is the formula we need to use to test the population mean in first criteria as well as second criteria, and how to find out or how to test the hypothesis, and whether the H naught, that is our null hypothesis, is rejected or it is accepted, and how we are drawing that decision, how we are getting the decision we are going to discuss in detail from these slides. Okay, now first we need to understand, so when or at what criteria we need to use this Z test. Okay, now this test is used if the sample size, if the sample size is more than 30, that is large sample, and our interest is to test the hypothesis related to mean of only one population. Understand? So here, whenever we are using this Z test, in the sense where the criteria is the sample size should be more than 30, and our interest is to test the hypothesis where only one population will be there, where that population mean only we are testing it. So this is the interest where we are going to use this Z test. Again I am repeating. So in large sample test there are different criteria. One, for the first criteria is where we are testing the hypothesis. Okay, for the population mean, only one population under the study. We are studying only one population, and that too its mean. This is the first criteria. Second criteria is there are two populations and we are testing its mean. Understand? That is the second criteria. For two different criteria we are using two different formulas. Okay. Now, if you see this, suppose if you look at X is a variable of the population under study. Okay, that variable may be anything. Suppose if you are, for example, if you have produced, or your population is yarn, that is, say for example 1000 kgs of yarn. This is our population. Suppose if you want to examine the strength of your population, that is strength of your yarn samples. Okay, so that X is the variable. Okay, X is that this is a variable of population. Okay, now mu is a mean and sigma is a standard deviation of the variable X of the population under study. So this is again a very important thing you need to keep in your mind, where these mu and sigma are population mean and population standard deviation. Okay, this mu and sigma are the notations we are giving. So these are very important. That's why I am repeating it again. Mu and sigma. Mu is nothing but the population mean. Sigma is nothing but the standard deviation of population. Okay, so which we are studying. Okay, and mu naught is the expected or the nominal value of the population mean. That is, what is it we are expecting. Okay, the expected or the nominal value of population mean mu. Okay, so these are some of the representations or notations you need to understand or you need to keep in your mind before starting or setting hypothesis. Okay, so if you look at the formulas, what type of formulas we need to use. Okay, so if you see in this test, the interest is to test our null hypothesis, test the hypothesis. So I told you in the beginning also, so before starting doing any testing of hypothesis, we have to set our assumptions. So that is null hypothesis and then alternative hypothesis. So if you look at the null hypothesis, what is the notation for null hypothesis? What is the notation? H naught is the notation. And how we are assuming that null hypothesis? There is no difference. That means mu is equal to mu naught. Here what is the mu? Mu is nothing but the population mean, and then mu naught is nothing but the nominal value of population mean. So both are same. There is no difference. This is how we are setting the null hypothesis. When it comes to alternative hypothesis, you see here mu is not equal to mu naught. That means the population mean is not equal to the nominal value of or expected value of population mean. So it is not equal to in the sense that may be less than or that may be greater than. That's why in the bottom you can see the H naught, we can also say mu is less than mu naught. Mu is less than mu naught. And H1 we can also say mu is greater than mu naught. Mu is greater than mu naught. So this is how we need to set our null as well as alternative hypothesis. Null as well as alternative hypothesis. Again I am repeating. So the first process, why? Because this is how you need to set your hypothesis when it comes to problem. So after this I am going to we are going to discuss about two problems where the setting of hypothesis should be done accordingly. So listen carefully. So before start doing any problem, any that is testing of our hypothesis, we need to set our hypothesis, that is assumption. We have to take the assumption first. The assumptions are of two types. One is null hypothesis and second one is alternative hypothesis. If you look at the null hypothesis, we are representing with H naught, that is mu is equal to mu naught. That is both are same, there is no difference. When it comes to alternative hypothesis, H1, that means mu is not equal to mu naught. That means there is a difference. There is a difference. So if you are saying that there is a difference, that difference may be less than and difference may be greater than. So that's why we can set alternative hypothesis like mu is less than mu naught or mu may be greater than mu naught. Okay. So after setting this alternative hypothesis and null hypothesis, we have to look at the sample size, that is we are representing with small n. Okay, throughout this significant test we can use the same kind of notations irrespective of the test is. So that's why you have to understand these notations carefully. So whenever you are looking at this H naught in all the significant tests, that means that it is null hypothesis. If you are looking at the small n is nothing but that is sample size. Okay, so if the sample size is greater than 30, where you can use this formula. So Z is equal to x bar minus mu naught divided by sigma divided by root n. So if you know the sigma, then you can use this formula. If you don't know the sigma value, then you have to use this formula, that is x bar minus mu naught divided by s divided by square root of n. Okay, here you should able to identify. So what is each and every terminal, which is each and every notation in the formula. If you look at Z means this is Z test, that's why we are using this symbol. And if you look at the notation x bar, what do you mean by x bar? What do you mean by x bar? Which is nothing but sample mean. X bar is nothing but sample mean. In the bottom also you can see. So how you can find out the mean? So total number of values, that is summation of all the observations by total number of observations. That will give you sample mean. And what is mu naught? Which is nothing but the expected value or nominal value of population mean. So which is already this value information is given in the problem itself. Okay. And what do you mean by sigma here? What do you mean by sigma? Even in the last slide also we have seen. Sigma is nothing but population standard deviation. Sigma is nothing but population standard deviation. Okay. If this value is given in the problem, then we can use the first formula, that is Z is equal to x bar minus mu naught divided by sigma by root n. Here what is this n? N is nothing but sample size. Suppose think that if the population standard deviation sigma is not given in the problem and you are given only with capital S, which is nothing but sample standard deviation, where you have to use the second formula, that is x bar minus mu naught divided by S by square root of n. So the first case, again I am repeating, where if population standard deviation is given, we have to use the first formula. If population standard deviation is not given, and if the information given is of sample standard deviation, where we have to use this formula, x bar minus mu by s by square root of n. Understand? So in order to find out this s values, where again you can see the formula. So s square, that is sample variance. What is sigma square? It is population variance. You have to familiarize with these terms. I think you have studied this subject, significant test. I think in the t-test you have studied in probability and statistics in the previous semester. Okay, again you have to recall some of the terminologies from that class. Okay, so that's why I'm repeatedly stressing on these terminologies. S square is sample variance, sigma square is population variance, and S is sample standard deviation, and sigma is population standard deviation. X bar is sample mean, mu is population mean. Okay, so in order to find out this S value, so where if this S square, from S square we have to find S value, that is 1 by n into summation of xi square minus n into x bar square. Okay, if S value is directly given, we can substitute the same value in the formula. If S value is not given directly, if you are given only with sample size and the mean, from this formula you can find it out, the S value. Okay, so in Z test, in one population mean, if you are testing the one population mean, you have to use these formulas. There are two formulas. The first formula, if you know this sigma value, and if you don't know the sigma value. So these formulas you should keep in your mind. Okay, then it is easy for you to solve the rest of the problem. Okay, so now few problems based on the large sample test, that is Z test. Now you will come to know how to set the hypothesis and how to do the testing using the Z test, and what are the formulas we have discussed, and how to draw the inference, like whether you are accepting your alternative hypothesis or accepting your null hypothesis. Okay, now if you look at the problem, I'll try to read the problem. I'll read the problem and I'll try to make you brief. Okay, so that you first try to understand the problem. Then from the problem, we have to just pick out what information is given in the problem, and based on that we have to carry out our solution, that is testing part. Now, I'll just read it. The nominal linear density of yarn spun during a shift is 14 times. So this problem is related to spinning. So from the spinning, we are taking some practical information, and with this we are doing our significance test. Okay, so the nominal linear density of the yarn spun during a shift is 14 times. That means in a shift they are producing a yarn which is of 14 ticks. Okay, in a shift they are producing. Okay, now but the sample of 45 leaves tested, has shown average linear density of 14.8 ticks and CV percentage of 2.5 ticks. That means what? So in a shift they have produced 14 ticks. Okay, but what they did is they have taken 45 leaves. They have prepared 45 leaves from the yarn samples which they have produced in a shift, and they have find out the average linear density, that is count they have find out, where they found that average is 14.8 ticks with a coefficient of variation of 2.5 ticks. Okay, from the sample results, can we say that the production of the shift is of required linear density? That means we have to say that whether the production already in a shift is 14 takes na, they are producing it is 14 takes, whether this is same as that of the sample which we have tested. This is what we have to test. Again I am repeating, try to understand the problem carefully, where this example is related to spin. So in a shift they have produced a 14 takes count, 14 takes, which is nothing but yarn count is 14 takes they have produced. Okay, after production, where we should not send it as it is, we have to test for its quality, right? So what they did is they have taken the yarn samples and they have prepared 45 leaves out of it, and they have tested its average, that is linear density. It's nothing but count, and they arrived at the average count is 14.8 takes. 14.8 takes with a coefficient of variation of 2.5. Now we have to test, we have to confirm that, okay, we have to confirm that whether the shift, whatever the population is there, nothing but yarn spun during the shift, which is nothing but 14 takes, is same as that of sample average linear density. Okay, so that is what it is given. Can we say that the production of the shift is of the required linear density or not? So that means the 14 takes is equal to the sample tested or not. Okay, so simply by looking at the problem, where you just see how many number of samples are there, 45. So the n value is 45. That means it is a large sample test. And again if you see, where the term average linear density, average is there, that means mean. So it is about population mean. How many populations are there? Only one population. Here the population is nothing but yarn spun during a shift. Yarn spun during a shift. So this is our population. This is our population, only one population, and its population mean is given. And the sample size is more than 30. So now we can confirm that it is Z test, that to one population mean. And afterwards we have to set our hypothesis. So in what way we can set our hypothesis? So we are setting the hypothesis, null hypothesis, as mu is equal to 14 takes. What is that? Mu naught is nothing but the nominal linear density. Mu is equal to 14, and we are setting alternative as mu is not equal to 14. Mu is equal to 14 and mu is not equal to 14. So H0 and H1 we are setting it. Afterwards, what information which is given, where the sample mean is given, that is x bar is given, 14.8 is given. And what other information is given? Sample coefficient of variation is given, that is CV percentage is given. Okay, now here, but there are two formulas na, we have to choose which formula we have to use. So do you think here population standard deviation is given? No, that is sigma value is unknown. So we have to use the formula where Z is equal to x bar minus mu divided by S by square root of n. If population standard deviation sigma is given, instead of S we can take sigma value. Okay, now x bar is nothing but the sample mean which is given in the problem. Mu naught is nothing but 14 which is there in the problem. And S, do you think sample standard deviation is straight away given in the problem? No. Instead of that, coefficient of variation is given, that is 2.5 takes. So from the coefficient of variation, where we can find out our S value. So here generally if you see, coefficient of variation is equal to, there is a formula, standard deviation by mean into 100. Standard deviation is by x bar into 100. This is the formula for coefficient of variation. If you look at this formula, CV percentage we know, S value we don't know, but mean we know. So here three variables are there. We know the two variables, that is CV we know, x bar we know. So from this we can find out the S value. From this we can find out the S value. So S is equal to 0.37. So now we know the S value, we know the X bar, and we know the N value. So if you substitute all the values in this formula, Z is equal to X bar is 14.8 minus mu is nothing but 14 divided by S value is 0.37 divided by N value is 45. In the formula it is, there is a root is there for N, so square root of 45. So now finally you are arrived at the Z value of, that is Z calculated value as 14.5. 14.5. Okay. So with this we have completed the testing. That is Z value we are, that is calculated value. Now in order to decide H0 is accepted or not, where we have to arrive at the critical region. So in the process of arriving critical region, in our introduction to testing of hypothesis, what we have seen, where the acceptance region and critical region is there. So where this acceptance region or the critical region, we are deriving it or arriving at with the help of alpha value. Is it right? This alpha is related to level of significance. So in the problem, so is there anywhere this level of significance is mentioned? Now here nowhere the level of significance is mentioned. So that we can take directly the level of significance as 5%. In any problem, if this level of significance is not mentioned, we can take it as 5%. If it is mentioned, we have to take the given value. So here in the problem, the level of significance is not given, so that we are taking it, that is 5% level of significance. So then alpha, how it changes, like 5 divided by 100, that means 0.05. So here you can see the Z alpha by 2. So this is the process of that is finding out the table value Z alpha by 2, that is equal to Z alpha value is 0.05 divided by 2 will give us 0.025. So Z, we have to go at the Z, that is Z table, and under this alpha, that is 0.025, where the value is 1.96. So that means at 5% level of significance, the table value of Z is 1.96. Now we have the calculated value of Z, which is nothing but 14.51, and we have the tabulated value of Z, which is nothing but 1.96. Now we have to compare these two values. So here, which value is more? Obviously the calculated value is more than the table value. So always remember, whatever the table value and calculated values we are getting, we have to see here which value is higher. Suppose if the table value is more than the calculated value, then we have to accept our H0. Listen carefully, again I am repeating. If the table value is higher than the calculated value, say for example, if the table value is 10 and the calculated value is 5, so which one is higher here? Table value is higher. So in this case, we have to accept our H0. That means there is no difference, everything is okay. Understand? The second case is the table value is less, calculated value is more. In this case, for example, the table value is 5, calculated value is 10. Understand? Table value is 5, calculated value is 10. In this case, you have to reject your H0. You have to reject your H0. Now what is the criteria here? The table value is 1.96, that is it is less. Calculated value is 14. So which one is more? The calculated value is more. So what you can do? You can reject your H0. If you are rejecting your H0 in the sense, you are accepting your H1. That is alternative hypothesis. So what is our assumption related to alternative hypothesis? mu is not equal to 14. So this means what inference we can draw, statistical inference, the average linear density of yarn produced during the particular shift is not 14, but we are assuming that it is 14 x. That is, we are producing that, we have all set the parameters and we thought that we have produced 14 x, but this is not, that is not 14 x, that is 14.8, that is 14.8. So that means whatever the yarn count you have produced in that shift is not 14. So this is what our statistical inference after doing this hypothesis testing by using Z test. By using Z test. So this you have to understand carefully. Okay. So I hope you understand this problem. And again we are going to see another example. So where you can even understand more. Okay. So again I am repeating this problem for your sake of better understanding. So whenever you are going through the problem, you have to understand the problem first. What sort of information is given and what is the population and what is the sample, and related to population what sort of information is given, and related to sample what sort of information is given. And after finding out this, we have to search for the term average or mean in the problem, whether mean or average term is used in the problem or not. And you have to choose it, you have to look at how many number of populations are there, whether one population is there and two populations are there. So after sorting out all this information from the given problem, you have to arrive at which formula you have to use. Which formula you have to use. It is not that you can use any one of the formula. If you use any one of the formula, irrespective of the given information in the problem, where you cannot calculate the calculated value of Z. And after calculating this calculated value of Z, where you have to find out the tabulated value of Z or table value of Z. So in order to find out the table value of Z, you should know what is the level of significance. Why? Because in the probability density curve, where the acceptance region is there, rejection region is there. How we are arriving at this? Depending upon the alpha value. And this alpha is related to level of significance. That means in the interval estimation we have seen. So if you are saying that in interval estimation, where you are telling that with some confidence, that confidence may be 100%, that confidence may be 95%. If you are saying it 95% confidence, that means 5% you are just leaving it. There is a chance of 5% of defect is there. So you are saying it 95% confidence. So that 5% is nothing but a level of significance. So in the problem, if they have given the level of significance, we have to take it. If no level of significance is given, we have to assume that it is 5% only. Or if you are assuming any other level of significance, that you have to specify in the while doing the problem solution. So now at 5% level of significance, where the alpha value is always 5 divided by 100, so it becomes 0.05. So in the process of arriving at the table value, we are taking Z alpha by 2, that is equal to Z 0.025. So you have to go back to this Z table and you have to see what is the value of Z at 0.025 at 5% level of significance, that is 1.96. So now we arrived at the Z table value at 5% level of significance is 1.96 and Z calculated value is 14.51. Now we have to compare these two things, and as I told you already, you have to compare your table value as well as your calculated value. For example, if your table value is more, calculated value is less, you are accepting your H naught. Okay, for example, the table value is 10, calculated value is 5. So which one is high here? The table value is more. So you are accepting your H naught. That is null hypothesis. For example, if your table value is low, calculated value is more. So that time where you have to reject your null hypothesis. You have to reject your null hypothesis. So for example, if your calculated value is 5, table value is 10. So what is the situation? What you have to do? You have to reject your H naught. So in this problem, what you have arrived at, your table value is 1.96 and your calculated value is 14. So huge difference is there. So obviously what you can do, you can reject your null hypothesis. If you are rejecting your null hypothesis, in the sense, obviously we are accepting the alternative hypothesis, and accordingly we have to draw the statistical inference. Understand? This is how you need to solve this problem by using this, or we have to test our hypothesis by using z-test. I hope you understand this. Okay, and so here is another example for you. So for better understanding, I have given you one more example here. So I'll read the problem, try to understand it. Now, example number 2, a sample of 35 leaves, has shown average leaf weight of 14.5 units. So in the previous problem, they have find out the linear density, that is count. Here they find out the weight. How many number of samples? 35. So n value is greater than 35. Okay, and average is there. So we can think it as it is large sample. That is only one population. So can we say that this sample is selected from the population. This sample is selected from the population having mean leaf weight 15 units. Can we say that this sample is selected from the population having mean leaf weight of 15 units and standard deviation of leaf weight is 1. Standard deviation of leaf weight is 1. Okay, this is the problem. So what you have understand from the problem, so there is a population. So where for the population they find out the average leaf weight is 15 units and standard deviation is 1. Deviation from the one value to another value is 1 is there. So what they did from the population, which they are claiming that it is leaf weight is 15 units, they have selected the yarn and they prepared 35 leaves and they find out the average leaf weight, which is of 14.5 units. So here what we have to test, can we say that the sample selected from the population having the 15 units and the standard deviation of 1 or not. So as usual, we have to identify how many number of populations are there, what is the sample size, and what information is given. Here the sample mean is 14.5 and then number of samples are 30. Now we have to set our null hypothesis, H naught as mu is equal to 15, H1 is mu is not equal to 15. So here population standard deviation is given, that is 1. So we can use x bar minus mu naught divided by sigma by root I. So all the values are given and straight away we can find out this z value, that is minus 2.95. So this z values that won't be in minuses. So we can take this modulus and it is 2.95. And here also the level of significance is not mentioned. So we are assuming it is 5% and the value is 1.96. So the table value is 1.96 and our calculated value is 2.95. So calculated value is higher than the table value. So what we are doing? We are rejecting our null hypothesis. That means mu is not equal to 15. So what we can inference, what we can draw the inference, the average linear density of yarn produced during shift is not 15. So this is what we are assuming, na? That is they are having some nominal value about the population. Estimated value about the population is 15. But by doing this testing of hypothesis, we come to know that it is not 15. So that means this production is not as per our requirement. So this is what the inference, practical inference we are drawing. Understand? Okay, so this is all about the Z test where there is one population is given. Okay. So till now we have discussed about how to test the hypothesis where sample size is more than 30 and the parameter we are measuring about the mean of one population. Okay, where we have seen with two examples how to test the hypothesis under this category. Okay, so in the beginning of the Z test itself, I told you there are two criteria of finding out or testing the hypothesis where sample size is more. The first criteria is where only one population is there, and second criteria where two populations are there. Okay, first criteria we have discussed in detail. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the second criteria where two populations are given and our interest is to find out the means of two populations. That means two population in the sense two means will be there, that is mu1 and mu2. So generally population mean we are representing with mu. If one population is there, we are representing with mu. Two populations are there, we can represent with mu1 and mu2. So here how we can set the null hypothesis? H0 is equal to mu1 is equal to mu2. That means both are same. The means of two populations are same. And alternative hypothesis, how we can say it? Mu1 is not equal to mu2. If it is not equal to in the sense, so one population may be more than another population, that is one mean may less than another. So H1 is equal to mu1 greater than mu2, H1 is equal to mu1 less than mu2. So likewise the hypothesis setup will be there. So two populations in this sense. And if you look at the problem, you can easily understand so how these two populations are given in the problem. So again, the same way the formulas you can see where different conditions are there. Say for example, if you know sigma 1 and sigma 2. So two populations in the sense obviously two standard deviations will be there. So how we are representing this population standard deviation? Generally it is sigma. If two populations in the sense sigma 1 and sigma 2. Okay, if sigma 1 and sigma 2 are known and this sigma 1 and sigma 2 not equal, you can use this formula. Z is equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar. x1 and x2 in the sense sample means. Two populations in the sense two samples will be there. So each sample, what is the mean? x1 bar minus x2 bar divided by square root of sigma 1 square by n1 plus sigma 2 square by n2. Likewise, the different conditions you can see. If sigma 1 and sigma 2 are known, if sigma 1 and sigma 2 are known, so this is not equal. Again by using this s1 square and s2 square we can use. Okay, and the third criteria is both the standard deviations are same. You have to use this formula. And if this sigma 1 and sigma 2 are known, if both the standard deviations are same, again you can use this formula. So there are four different conditions Okay, depending upon what information is given in the problem, we have to choose the right formula. And here you can see how to find out the x1, x2, s1, s2 and sp. Sp is nothing but pooled sample variance. Okay, so by using these formulas, we can find out these individual variables in the that is factors in the that is parameters there in the problem. Okay, so now we will see one example in this category where you can easily understand how to test the hypothesis where two populations are there. Okay. Now this is the third problem we are seeing with respect to Z test is concerned. Now if you see this, I'll just try to read out the problem. Okay. So two ring frames are expected to spin the yarn of same strength. Two ring frames are expected to spin the yarn of same strength. Okay. The samples of 35 and 40 ring bobbins selected from these ring frames have shown the following results. So two ring frames are there, so which are producing same yarn, that is yarn of same strength. So obviously here two populations are there. So ring frame 1 is the one population, ring frame 2 is the another population, and from each population they have taken the different sample size and corresponding results are given in this table. Now you can see sample size for first population they have taken 35, second population they have taken 40, and for the sample mean strength is 60, and for second population the mean strength is 56, that is sample mean strength is 56, and standard deviation of strength is 1.25 for first population sample, and for second population sample it is 1.50. Now these are the results of sample selected from two different populations. You have to differentiate what is population and what is, you have to understand the difference between what is population and what is sample. Population is the entire ring frame. Sample is nothing but 35 yarns, 35 corps we have taken and we have tested the yarn strength. Understand? Now the results are like this. Now, so what we need to confirm here from the sample results? Is there any evidence? Is there any evidence that the yarn of first ring frame is having strength more than that of yarn of second ring frame? So simply by looking at sample 1, that is first ring frame and second ring frame, the first ring frame strength is more. But what is that evidence? Simply by looking at the values, how you can say, is there any significant difference, or how is there any evidence that the strength of ring frame 1, yarn produced in ring frame 1 is more than ring frame 2? This is what we have to confirm. Here we have to understand what is, by looking at this statement only, we have to decide how to assume our hypothesis. So is there any evidence that the yarn of first ring frame is having high strength than that of yarn of ring frame 2? And you can see here in the problem, use 1% level of significance. So level of significance is very, very less. That means what could be the confidence interval, confidence limit level? 99% confidence level. Understand? 99% confidence level. Only 1% you are just leaving it. Understand? Now this is the problem. And from this problem, what you can understand, there are two populations and it is about mean. It is about mean strength. So mean is there, average is there. So two populations are there and the parameter is mean, and what is the sample size? 35 and 40. So obviously it is more than 30. So you can confirm that, where you have to test the hypothesis under Z test, that to two population means. Under two population means. So accordingly now we have to choose the formulas and we have to set the hypothesis. Now how we can set the hypothesis? Where H naught, how we can set? Always no difference, na? So mean of first population is equal to mean of second population. That is, you can see there H naught is mu1 is equal to mu2. And how you can set the alternative hypothesis? Here you have to be careful. You should not blindly put mu1 is not equal to mu2. That is not our criteria to decide the assumption. You have to look at the problem. I even before that also I stressed this. So is there any evidence that yarn of first ring frame is having high strength than of yarn of second ring frame? That means mu1 is greater than mu2. mu1 is greater than mu2. This is a null alternative hypothesis. So null hypothesis, always we are assuming no difference, both are same. In alternative hypothesis, while setting it, we have to go to the problem. So what is that we have to prove? What is that we have to prove? Here we have to prove the mean strength of first population is greater than mean strength of second population. So that's why here we have said the alternative hypothesis as mu1 is greater than mu2. mu1 is greater than mu2. So now you can see the given information in the problem, where x1 bar we know, x2 bar we know, that is means we know, and s1 we know, that is standard deviation of sample, and s2 we know. So we can use this formula, that is z is equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar divided by square root of s1 square by n1 plus s2 square by n2. So from this we can directly find out the z value of 12.6. If you simplify it, you will get 12.6. While simplifying, you should be careful in the denominator where there is a root. Inside the root there are brackets. While doing the calculations using calculator, you have to be careful in simplifying this. Understand? Now what is that calculated value we got? That is 12.6. Now next what we have to do? We have to find out our table value. We have to find out our table value based on the level of significance. So why we are finding out our table values? Where we have to arrive at whether this Z, that is statistic, comes under this critical region or not. Either it is coming under critical region or acceptance region. So how we are deciding it? Based on the alpha value. So this alpha is related to level of significance. See how it is related. So the level of significance is 1%. That means what is the alpha value? 1 divided by 100, that becomes 0.01. Now the table value, if you want to see, Z alpha, that is equal to 2.33. So at 1% level of significance, the Z table value is 2.33. So if you look at the Z table, where you can see this 2.33 value. So now you have find out the Z calculated value and Z table value. Now you see which one is more? Z calculated value is 12.6. It is more. What is the table value? The table value is 2.33 only. So table value is less, calculated value is more. So obviously what we can do? We have to reject the H naught. If we are rejecting H naught in the sense, so the mean strength of ring frame 1 and ring frame 2 is not equal. Okay, we are rejecting in the sense it is not equal. So that means we have to accept our alternative hypothesis. That how we have assumed set our alternative hypothesis, mean yarn strength of ring frame 1 is greater than mean yarn strength of ring frame 2. That is, mu1 is greater than mu2. So how we can draw our inference, statistical inference? Average strength of ring frame 1 yarn is more than that of ring frame 2. So now here is an evidence. Earlier we don't have the evidence to say that, but now by doing this testing of hypothesis, where we arrived at this evidence. Okay, so this is how we need to carry out the testing of hypothesis when two populations are there, where the interest is to test the mean. Interest is to test the mean, and the sample size is more than 30, where you have to choose the right formula depending upon what information is given in the problem. And you have to find out your calculated value, and table values you have to find out to decide or to make a decision to accept or reject the H naught. And in order to have that, where we need to know the alpha value, and since the alpha value is related to level of significance, so if the level of significance is given in the problem, where we have to use that. For example, in this problem, the level of significance given is 1%. That means, what is the confidence level? 99%. 99%. That means it is damn sure. So there is nowhere these results are wrong. So 99% level of confidence you are saying. Understand? So from this level of significance, where we are getting the alpha value, and with this alpha we have to go at the Z table, and we have to find this Z table value, that is 2.33. 2.33. Now the table value is less, calculated value is more. So we have to reject our H naught, and we have to accept the H1. And according to the assumption, according to the hypothesis we set in the alternative hypothesis, where we have to draw our statistical inference. Okay, so hope you understand this class, and now I think you understand how to test our hypothesis using this Z test with the practical examples related to our textiles. So now I request all of you to just go through this Z test, and especially go through these problems. And before going through the problems, you try to understand what is this Z test. And if you are doing this testing of hypothesis, so what kind of things you have to look at it, where you have to look at what is the parameter and what is your sample size. If your parameter is related to mean or averages, if your sample size is less than 30 or greater than 30, accordingly you have to select the type of test, whether it is Z test or whether it is some other test. So here all these three problems we have seen related to what? Z test only, that is sample size is greater than 30. Okay, so hope you understand this class, and in the next class we will discuss about the another significant test, which is T test. Okay, so till then, so thanks for listening. So bye, take care.